Okay, so this is the Tap Tap Kaboom / Studio Armstrong How to Work Remotely series of videos. And the question that we're wanting to ask and kind of try answer is, how do we more successfully work remotely? And this could be working at home for your first time. Perhaps you've already been doing it for 8 years, 10 years, a whole bunch of time already. So what is actually going on when we work remotely? Chantelle, my love, my business partner, tell us.
Well, what's happening at the moment in this coronavirus situation is that a lot of companies have sent their people home, and so your home space is now not only your home space, but it's also work. And not only that, but it's also maybe your roommate's work space and your spouse's workspace and your children's school. So there's all of a sudden this huge squishing together of multiple different environments into one space.
And also, it's not just workspaces. You could have roommates that are at university or school, they're studying something. So you have these merging of different spheres of life. And that means that people will be wearing different hats. So your loving wife that you're used to seeing with her loving wife hat on, all of a sudden she's got her corporate CEO hat on. And so she may not treat you in the same way or may not speak in the same way. It's going to be slightly different. So what makes us, good candidates for this kind of video thing?
Well, for the last 4 years, we've been working in the same space as one another.
Yeah, not because we've been quarantined or anything, but because we've chosen to work in the same space together. And before that, I was working for 4 years just by myself, remotely for startups, for companies. And now that we've started our own business and been working together for the last 4 years, we're pretty good at it. There's still some things that we can get better at, but I think that we have some tips, things to share with the world that will help you, get you thinking.
Yeah, so this episode is going to be how we manage to work in the same space as one another and achieve goals, and some tips and tricks that we've learned that makes it better.
Yeah, without killing or getting super frustrated with one another, because that's always the easy option, is just to get frustrated and mad. So let's talk about space. First of all, launch into what space means and perhaps talk about our different versions of what space is.
Yeah, so I like everything to have its space and its home and its spot that it's supposed to be. And so to work in...
I don't.
Rich doesn't. No, he likes to take up the whole house.
Yeah.
So that's something that we've had to learn how to deal with one another, is we very much have our own space. And I guess it's the same as what you would have in an office. Like, you would not go and leave your papers and teacups and stuff on your colleagues' desks, and they wouldn't do the same to you.
Well, maybe you do, and they get really frustrated at you.
Don't do that if you're busy doing that.
and now you've come home and your spouse or your roommates aren't used to this, and they don't know that you're a serial leaving your papers on other people's desk kind of a person.
Yeah, so I hope you don't do that, but that's the idea, is that even though you're working at home, I would suggest that you find a spot and make that your desk of sorts. Even if you think of schooling, children don't do school all over the classroom. Everyone has to share that space, so they have their desk and their spot where they sit. And it's normal in a workspace or a school that we have our different workstations, but for some reason, when we try to work at home, we try to take up the whole space. And that can get very frustrating when there's more than one of you in the space. So pick a spot and make it your own, and then respect the other people in your house as well when they've chosen a spot. That don't leave your stuff in their spot.
Yeah, and I think it goes without saying, but perhaps you do this unconsciously. But remember that there are other people living and working in your house or in your home. So I have to consciously think, oh yes, I've got stuff on the coffee table. Oh yes, I've got stuff on my table. I've got stuff in the bedroom. Let me just gather it and put it all on my desk. And sometimes my desk does look really messy because I just dump stuff there because I've collected it from all over the show. And I think that's a really helpful thing to realize, is that there are other people working in your space. And I'm telling you, happy people around you makes for way better remote working conditions. If you've got people that are frustrated or irritated at one another, not good. Even though you're working and you're like, yeah, this is my space, I'm having fun. Man, when people start to get on each other's nerves, not good. So be mindful of that. I think the next thing is the common space thing. Like, we need to have common space. You need to have some kind of space where you can both relax, have a bit of a home life. It's not all about working at home. There is home stuff. So I think that helps quite a bit too.
Mm-hmm. And do you want to talk about how to take calls? Because you work with clients that are not in our space. So how do you suggest going about that? Because now everyone's going to be working digitally, and they're going to have to communicate with their colleagues who are not in their home.
Yeah, so I think, going with being considerate. If you have a laptop, I would then try move to a quieter part of the house, and also maybe keep your voice down. Definitely have headphones on or earphones, maybe a little microphone, and then try get out of where everybody else is working. Because if you're, talking, sometimes shouting, talking really loudly, it's really distracting. So everyone then puts their headphones on, whereas you could just leave the room and go have a call somewhere else. I think that helps a lot. And if you're doing a whole bunch of calling, just remember that there's going to be a bunch of people that are in homes perhaps and they don't have headphones, or they're working with other people. So keep calls short, especially if you're working at home.
Which then is a good segue into communication.
I see what you did there. Call, communication. Yeah, I think that communication, as with much in life, is very, very important. And I think what we do almost on a daily basis is we ask ourselves or one another, what are your secret plans for today? Now, for most of the world, generally know what that means, so perhaps you can explain that.
Secret plans are things that you have set up as your to-do list for the day, but you haven't told anybody that you would like to achieve those things. So just thinking of what would you like to achieve today? Oh, I would like to clean the house. Okay, so that means you're going to need to make some noise when you're vacuuming, and how do I fit that into my workflow? And just aligning both of our secret plans with one another so that we can fit it in and help one another to achieve those things. If Rich wants to record all day, then he needs me to be free to help him with the camera and the lighting. And if he has not communicated that to me, then I might get frustrated because I'm not achieving things that I actually wanted to do today.
Yeah, and if Chantelle is doing some vacuuming while I'm trying to record it, it doesn't work very well. So.
And I guess if you have kids at home as well, you really need to communicate your secret plans so that you can take turns and help one another to achieve those things.
Yeah, I think the thing with secret plans is that you come from a working environment where everything is routine for you. It's intuitive. That's the way the company works. That's the way I've always worked. And now you find yourself in a situation where your routines and ways of working clash. Mm-hmm. And you don't really know why, because you've always worked like this and you're married to this person or you live with these people. Like, why are we clashing? But what's going on? It's not just that people are bringing their work into the home. It's that there's a whole bunch of different works or offices and businesses and situations all coming into the same space. And those cultures, those routines, they start to jar. And so it's just to try and, bring it from a subconscious or unconscious level up and say, oh, maybe I should tell everyone what I would like to do and manage expectations. Like, if we want to go for a walk, it's like, okay, let's schedule some time in to go for a walk. And what time are we finishing a work day. You know, some people work until 9 o'clock, some people work until 5 o'clock. I'm just telling you, like, I'm gonna like end at 6 o'clock. What time are you gonna end work? What time are you gonna start work? What time are we gonna take lunch? Like, these are all really good questions. And just getting on the same page, setting expectations, and then aligning on goals, super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, because one of you might have the expectation that you would all stop and have lunch together as a family, and the other one is not used to stopping at work at all during lunch. And so just to make sure that you're communicating what you need from the other people in your house or what you expect, and then coming to an agreement of what is actually going to happen.
Yeah. And I think that at different times you can change things up a little bit. You can be flexible, which we'll get onto in the next point. But there's been times where Chantel's been working really hard. Normally I have the majority of work to do, so Chantelle actually does a lot of the cooking, the cleaning, that kind of stuff. But then the odd occasion, Chantelle has a bunch of editing or is like working feverishly on volunteer work, and I see that. So I go cook, I go shopping, I do that kind of stuff. And just being aware of how this works is really important too. You can't expect one person to do all the work, do all the cleaning, all the cooking. And I think just, vocalizing that, voicing that is also really helpful. Or saying, man, you know what, like work is crazy at the moment. It may be crazy, while this Corona thing is going on. But I think just saying, man, I know I said I would cook, or I know I said we would end at 6 o'clock, but things are going crazy. So I'm just letting you know, perhaps it's going to be an extra hour today. And that's really helpful.
Yeah, because it manages expectations.
Yeah.
And being flexible on both sides is only possible when you're communicating.
Yeah. And I think some questions to help with this, because it's sometimes quite hard to just say, this is what I want. But you got to say to somebody, well, we got to help them figure out what they want and what their goals are for the day. So something that you can ask someone in your house, your wife, your husband, partner, your roommates is, what do you want from today? What are you expecting from today? And how can I help you? And then to respect that as well. And sometimes this could be, well, I actually need some focus hours. I need to be left alone for 3 or 4 hours while I write, while I do some thinking. Other times it could be, yeah, I actually really need to do some talking today because I haven't seen anyone for a week. I need to get some social time with you. And I think what we do as well is when we interrupt each other, which is a bit of flexibility, we say, can I please have some time in 10 minutes? I need to chat to you about something which is not related to your work. And maybe, you're saying, okay, I need to organize our life insurance, or, I need to organize a plumber to come in. Can we chat about that in 10 minutes? Because you are at home, you're working from home. You can't just do no home stuff at all. This is your home. So, flexibility. You want to kick us off on how to be flexible?
I think you've just explained it all. You just communicate with one another.
Okay, cool.
Just talk about it and ask for time from the other person.
Super. And then in terms of, being awesome, how do we be awesome with one another?
You're my hot drink maker. He's always offering tea and coffee and water and making sure that I'm hydrated.
It's not intentional, but I think that if you're doing something for yourself, offer for other people as well. Do you want a hot drink? Can I get you something? Can I get you a smoothie? No, I'm making lunch. Do you want me to make you a sandwich as well? I think you got to remember that we're humans. We're built for social interaction. Have some fun. Like yesterday, we were making whale sounds. Do you want to give us a whale sound?
It's not spontaneous. It comes out of frustration.
What happens if I do one?
You can show us.
Chantelle was frustrated, so she was making whale noises. So I joined her. So we had a whale noise party yesterday, which was quite fun. But I think that just to be awesome with one another, continually respect each other's space and time, and really try to help one another, make the best of this working remotely situation, especially if it's new for you. I think that is the best thing that you can do. It's just to be like, I want to be awesome for you. And part of that is communicating what your expectations are, and trying to help each other out.
Yeah, so to summarize, pick a space, communicate, and be awesome.
Be awesome. So this is the first episode. I don't know how many episodes we're going to do, but if you have any questions or suggestions about working from home or working remotely or working with one another, then drop us a question or a suggestion or a line or something like that, and we could answer you either in text format right there, or we could make a whole episode on that particular question. So thanks for watching, and you did awesome on camera.
Thanks. You're always awesome on camera.
Sometimes it takes multiple takes, but this is one take. Fantastic.
Cool.
Okay, bye guys.